Drums. Drums in the deep.
Greetings, Retro Rebels. I hear a distant rumbling, a chilling tremor in the air, a shadowy force creeping closer, and it could well be an existential threat to emulation as we know it.
You serious?
Hear me out. You've probably been noticing something recently. A change in the landscape of the games industry. AAA titles are tanking, studios keep getting shut down, layoffs keep piling up, and yet, suddenly every publisher's got a shiny new retro collection or a remastered classic on the way.
Coincidence? I think not!
The suits upstairs are beginning to wake up to what gamers actually want, and finding out it isn't what they've been peddling for the last decade or so. There is a lot to uncover in this one, so
let's get scratching.
over the last few videos, I've touched on many of the issues plaguing the modern games industry: the delisting of classics, the push for subscription platforms, the shift away from physical games to digital with all the DRM baggage that brings, and the aggressive monetization, DLC, microtransactions, loot boxes, battle passes, and that's not even mentioning all the heavy-handed political messaging and moralizing stuffed into everything from single-player epics to multiplayer shooters. Nobody asked for this. Look, I'm not the modern audience that studios have been chasing, whoever they are, and neither are most of you. We play games to escape, to have fun, to unwind, just like we'd watch a movie or listen to music. The majority of us don't want real-world allegories and ideological lecturing in our video games. The majority of us don't appreciate being bombarded with in-game ads pushing $20 skins when we've already shelled out $70 or more for the game itself. Player numbers have shown conclusively that we're done with it. New releases are bombing, budgets aren't being recouped, studios are closing, and the industry's contracting, while still trying to charge us more for less. Nintendo pushed ahead with $80 game prices for the Switch 2, now Xbox is following suit, so the floodgates are open for this to become the standard for new releases. Fewer developers, worse games, bigger price tags. Modern publishers have completely lost their way, blinded by greed and line goes up culture, and it's finally caught up with them. Gamers aren't buying what they're selling, not anymore, we're walking away, and not all of us to shiny new platforms, a lot of us are just going back. Back to the 8-bit, 16-bit and early 3D days where a cartridge or disc was all you needed, no day one patches, no season pass required, no thinly veiled political messaging tacked on, where games were complete and fun and didn't lecture you. Retro gaming is exploding. Collectors are hunting down old cartridges, indie devs are churning out pixel art love letters to the 90s, and emulation has become more mainstream, accessible and user-friendly than ever before. No longer confined to the PCs and modded consoles of super nerds, emulators nowadays can run on phones, tablets, the Fire Stick in your bedroom TV, even some guy's hacked smart fridge probably. And on top of all that, let's not forget there's an entire hardware market of retro gaming focused handheld consoles that's sprung up around player demand for older games. Why? Because gamers want to play good games, and a lot of older games were good. It's that straightforward. All this isn't just nostalgia, it's an FU to the entire modern mess. Why slog through a $70 game bloated with microtransactions when I can fire up Chrono Trigger and get a masterpiece that respects my time? While preservation is the battle cry you'll hear most from retro gaming enthusiasts, keeping these old games alive isn't just about saving history. It's about holding on to what gaming should be. Fun, fair, and finished. Publishers have been watching all this unfold in response to the crap they've been offering, and now they want a slice of that retro pie. In fact, they feel entitled to it because they own the IPs that are gathering dust while the emulation scene continues to thrive. Enter the games industry's new strategy to monetize nostalgia and keep the cash flowing. The first part of this new approach is reawakening their dormant IPs with a barrage of new sequels, reboots, remasters, and even full-blown remakes of the most popular and sought-after games in their historic libraries. Now, in all fairness, many of the ones that have arrived so far have been absolutely incredible. Metroid Prime Remastered for the Switch, the Resident Evil 2 and 4 remakes, not you, Resi 3, Soul Reaver, Tomb Raider, Oblivion, Silent Hill 2 to name just a few. But with the industry continuing to shrink and so many developers losing their jobs from the constant stream of studio closures and mass layoffs, the question we have to ask ourselves is how long until remaster starts to mean lazy AI upscale? Rockstar kind of already tested that approach out in 2021 with the GTA trilogy, a textbook case of cashing in on nostalgia without the effort, releasing a buggy, overpriced mess that got review bombed into oblivion. Perhaps even worse than the state of the trilogy itself was Rockstar's decision to delist the original games from digital storefronts to make this collection the only available way to play it, unless you already own the original, and there are numerous other examples of different studios doing this too in recent years. Publishers are forgetting something though. When it comes to us older gamers, we already bought these games, decades ago in some cases, and still want to be able to play the originals. So if a studio sits on a classic tied to a dead console, or delists an original to push a remaster, we'll find a way to play the version we remember and enjoyed. That's always been a major goal of emulation. Piracy is the unfortunate side effect of that, but I've made clear in previous videos how they could solve this. The simple solution that is so often asked for and always ignored is for publishers to include the ROMs and emulation rights with every game release, and then provide official emulators that can be bought and downloaded when support for a system ends and the next one comes along, and continue making money off those games forever. If we are interested in a remaster or a remake or a new compilation, rest assured, we will buy it, but we want such re-releases in addition to, not instead of, the originals. The problem is, that's not how publishers want to do it. They know their live service bubble has started to burst, and they know that replacing those types of games with remakes and remasters alone isn't enough. So they're reluctantly getting on board with emulation, finally. But they're doing it on their own terms by stuffing their cloud platforms with older classics running on official emulators, which lets them continue the ongoing payment gravy train they've gotten accustomed to during the live service era, because these are the very games people have been abandoning modern platforms to play via emulation instead. For the publishers and rights holders, the best thing to come out of the last decade in gaming was improvements to digital distribution. Why sell games at all when they can rent them to us? For better or worse, mostly worse, cloud gaming has been a very successful and lucrative business model for publishers. It seems on the surface like a good deal. A single low monthly cost for you, less than buying a full-priced game, but you get access to hundreds of titles, new and old. The technology has become good enough for Nintendo and Microsoft to do away with their older digital storefronts altogether in favour of subscription services. So Nintendo's got Switch Online offering titles from the NES all the way up to the GameCube, Sony's tossing PS1 and 2 games onto its PlayStation Plus Classics catalogue, and Microsoft's now pushing Game Pass Retro Classics, which includes games going all the way back to the Atari 2600, as well as rumours circulating that Xbox is working on a new advanced emulation platform for original Xbox and 360 titles that will integrate with Game Pass. The catch though is you don't own these games, you're renting access to a digital museum, and if you miss a payment, no game for you. Random service outages? No game for you. Games aren't even permanently available and can be removed from the lineup at any time. Not only that, but these platforms are having a serious impact on developers, costing them sales and potentially contributing further to the studio closure crisis. So yeah, publishers are finally giving us the officially supported access we've long desired, but only in exchange for continuing payments. They don't want you to own your games. They don't have any respect for ownership at all. So, as the marketing ramps up to push their online subscription services, they will start to oppose anything that offers an alternative. And therein lies that existential threat to emulation as we know it. You Gen Z gamers can call me a dumb unk all you want, but at 40-something years old I'm among the very first generation to grow up with video games as they became a mainstream part of household entertainment, and have now experienced many console generations worth of disappearing access to things I've paid for. Like many of you older emulation enjoyers, I lived through the changes, watched them happen as they happened, so no. I'm not suggesting it's going to be a sudden cataclysmic banning and outlawing of emulators that takes place overnight. It's going to happen slowly. Bit by bit, year by year, chipping away at consumer ownership rights, one policy change, one lawsuit, one modification to the terms and conditions at a time. It's going to follow a similar path to online digital sales. We used to buy a copy of a game and that was it, it's our property now, but the rules have slowly evolved over time. Nowadays you're buying a license to play a game, not a copy of it that you own, and this license crap is now even spreading to physical games with an approach many publishers are now adopting. Code-in-a-box type DRM, where the physical disc or cartridge you buy doesn't actually contain the game data, which ensures you can't justifiably emulate it in future because you never truly owned your copy in the first place. Publishers have spent decades aggressively and disingenuously framing emulation and piracy as the same thing, deliberately conflating the two terms so much that they've largely come to be used interchangeably, and many gamers don't even know the difference. Just go read the comments on this video to see what I mean. And now, with the ever-expanding libraries of classic games available on their cloud platform, platforms, you're guaranteed to see more legal challenges to emulation as a whole in the coming years. They've already made sure you can't own a new release that you buy, and by making long-forgotten classic games from past systems available again via an official channel, they will claim any fan-made emulator capable of running said games is a direct threat to their income, bringing out their piracy bogeyman yet again. This could potentially even impact decades-old emulators that don't use official BIOS files or other proprietary code and can't be called illegal under current definitions. But laws can be changed, definitions can be rewritten, money has power, and judges have shown again and again that they will side with publishers over gamers. The real kicker in all this is that fan-made emulators are still the better deal. The official emulators on subscription platforms that publishers are pushing so hard are pretty bare-bones affairs, often just the raw ROM dumped into a basic wrapper with no extra features. No upscaling, no mods, no customizable options, no increased frame rates, and definitely no online multiplayer unless the publisher decides it's worth their time. It's abundantly clear that they're doing as little as possible with as few developers as they can get away with to cash in on our nostalgia while keeping us tethered to their subscription models. And yet these same publishers are quick to slap DMCA notices on fan projects that dare to outshine their half-baked efforts. Emulation is about more than just preservation, as I said earlier, it's about the fun of gaming. A big part of that is enhancing the experience and giving players the freedom to enjoy their games the way they want. Want to tweak the aspect ratio to fit your modern widescreen monitor? Done. Upscale those pixelated graphics to crisp HD? No problem. Add mod support to breathe new life into a classic with fan-made levels, characters or gameplay tweaks? You can do it. Online multiplayer for games that never had it? Fan emulators make it happen, letting you battle or co-op with friends across the globe. And let's not forget customizable front ends, sleek user-friendly interfaces that let you organize your game library exactly how you like it. One community project even adds achievements to retro games so you can prove how good you were back in the day. These are features born out of a love of gaming, not piracy and not a corporate checklist. If publishers want to put in minimal effort, they shouldn't be shocked when gamers turn to better options. Instead of throwing lawsuits at dedicated fans, maybe they should hire these emulator devs who are out here making gaming better for everyone. Imagine what could happen if that talent was brought in-house to create official emulators with the same love and flexibility as fan-made ones. The future of emulation looks pretty bleak when viewed through such a pessimistic lens, and I do hope I'm wrong, but check back in 20 years and leave a comment if it goes the way I'm predicting. So long as we keep emulation alive, the games we love can never be taken away. If you bought a game, you own it. So keep on emulating, unashamedly, and if you can afford to, donate to your favourite emulators developer. Call out every scummy cash-grabby move that you see these publishers make. It's the only tool we have to keep their greed and disrespect in check, and show them that we're not just consumers, we're a community that demands better. Until next time, you are the Retro Rebellion.